Good morning, everyone, live from Palm Springs, California. How is everybody today? Y'all look good. People still logging on here. Welcome to this glorious, beautiful Saturday morning. All right, let's all take a deep breath and just center ourselves right where we are. I would just like you to repeat after me and allow these words to do what they do for you. I am here. I am here. I am here. I am. I am. I am. I. 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 And then recognize that when the words disappear, what's left is the consciousness of the I am. The absolute truth that you are this creative, magnificent force. And that whatever your mind focuses on is yours to receive, is yours to experience. And so I know this morning brings with it the many, many, many universal gifts. The universe is giving its wisdom, its knowing, and I am here to receive it. And so I receive whatever is necessary to receive. I let go of whatever I need to let go of. And I allow this time to be its perfect, perfect place in my heart. Knowing this is so, I just let it be so. And so it is. That I am here, I developed during C.P.R, my first C.P.R, and I've used it ever since. Just backing yourself out of, I am here, I'm here in this place. I am, I know who I am. I, recognizing my individual self, and then just back it up from the individual self into the universal self, or as Rumi says, the entire ocean in a drop. So yesterday, I said to you all, my beliefs support me in everything I do. I gave you that affirmation. One of you wrote about it on the blog. My beliefs support me in everything I do. And today, I want to ask you, do they? I mean, do they? Only you would know how your beliefs support you or not, right, Catherine? Only you can know whether or not your beliefs are supporting you in everything you do. Not just in perhaps that one thing. So, do your beliefs absolutely 100% unconditionally support you in everything you do? Remember, your thoughts are a direct result of your beliefs. So if you check your thoughts, you'll find out what beliefs are supporting you. I mean, you think what you think because you believe what you believe. Just to go over that again. If you are thinking things that you don't want to be thinking, you need to ask yourself, what beliefs need to be looked at? And then you got to go in there and put a big fat X over top of it and start those divorce proceedings. It is time to be done with these beliefs that do not serve us in everything I do. You may have all these great beliefs about yourself and then have this one belief over here saying, yeah, it doesn't always work out your way. You got to get in there and pull that out. Remember, your belief system is compromised of truth and illusion. Truth and illusion, which is why we call it your belief system. It's why we call it your BS. Truth and illusion. So that your job is to find out which one of these beliefs is actually all made up. Which one of these beliefs is just something I have developed over the years and isn't really truthful. It's that simple. We just follow the thought to the belief, pull it out, put an X on it, take it to the dump. Then you change it for a belief that you do want. Remember, your beliefs create your demonstrations. Okay, so there's my little recap about how your mind is working and what you're doing with it. Okay, so today, I want to talk to you today about a thing called scattered thinking. Scattered thinking. This is one of the biggest detriments to a demonstration of prosperity. Scattered thinking. Scattered thinking will produce scattered results, just like mixed thinking will produce mixed results. So what exactly is scattered thinking? Well, if Ernest Holmes says that what we focus on expands, then if all of the great metaphysicians say that our mind has the capacity to create what we want, then scattered thinking is when you let your mind just go all over the place. Oh, I think this now. Oh, wait, oh, that happened. Oh, I think that now. Someone says something. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And you just scatter your power all over the place. How many of you think you are a despot of scattered thinking, right? So our minds just kind of ping pong all over the place, and we allow conditions to create our mind in this atmosphere of scattered thinking. So yesterday, I said you can never be less than because who you are is not conditional. Well, as it turns out, conditional thinking is scattered thinking. Why? Well, because conditions are going to change moment by moment by moment. One person's going to come in and tell you how great you are, and then you're going to get an email from someone who tells you you're just an idiot. Ever have one of those days? Reverend Nancy calls you and says, oh my God, Sunday was magnificent. Thank you so much. I turn on the computer and someone goes, I hated what you said. And you're like, wow, okay. So that's called living conditionally. And that's scattered thinking. Does your mind, does your brain follow the conditions of life like a little ball on top of lyrics? And it just follows along. Whatever the universe presents you, you follow it. That's called scattered thinking. Now, my mind is a little bit better than that, so that when Nancy calls and says how wonderful I am, I always say thank you. And then when so-and-so calls and says what an idiot you are, I always say thank you. And I know who I am. And that's the key. When you know who you are, your scattered thinking goes by the wayside, right? So you don't need to worry about it. So yesterday I said you can never be less than who you are because you are not conditional. So scattered thinking is unfocused thinking and depends on what's going on around you. It's when you allow yourself to be affected by things to such a degree that your mind takes on the conditions and reacts as though the conditions are real. You all know the conditions aren't real, right? You all know if you want to change a condition, just wait a second. Take a breath. It's going to change. They're not real. They're just the results of the way you have used your mind, or mostly it's the results of the way the world has used its mind. So although these conditions in the world of form feel real enough, they merely represent what the mind is equal to and not the irrefutable truth. Now listen to that. These conditions may feel real, but they are not the irrefutable truth. And let's talk for a moment about race consciousness, because you and I, we are living in a world of vibrant race consciousness right now. There's a lot going on. Have you felt yourself get sucked up into this race consciousness at times? It's very easy today to get caught up in this world of everybody's reactive thinking. So your job is to not do that. Race consciousness is scattered thinking, the worst scattered thinking, because it's everybody's thinking. I mean, just look at this. Look at the square right now. If you have this up as a Brady Bunch screen, you may just have me up. But if you click on the Brady Bunch screen, take a look at, what do we have? 31 people here right now. So if you just look at, what if you tried to follow every single person on here's mind? So as Reverend Joyce started thinking, you started following what she's thinking. Wait, Jeannie's saying that. No, Nancy Willinger said this. Wait, Carol Robbins said this. Nancy Joe said this. And you're just following these thoughts all over the place. That's race consciousness. And that's what's literally assaulting your mind. Your job is to not let that happen, to not let your mind bounce around with race consciousness, because when you do, you are literally putting up a blockade wall to prosperity. Prosperity is a flow, an energy. There's no place for it to flow if you're constantly using this space there to ping pong all around. I saw a bumper sticker during one of the C.P.Rs and I wrote it down. It said, don't believe everything you know. I'm sorry, don't believe everything you think. Don't believe everything you think. So that's for you too. Don't believe everything you think, Jeannie Kingsford, even though I know you think amazing things, right? Don't believe everything you think, because you have the ability to have scattered thinking going on in your head. Oh, no, well, maybe I don't know. Let me ask my friend. Oh, they didn't like it. Maybe I'll like it. That's scattered thinking, as opposed to just quieting up and figuring out, what do I think? I love this quote from Raymond Charles Barker. Trouble ensues when an unintelligent factor is introduced into an intelligent universe. It's one of my favorite quotes. I love when he starts with, trouble ensues when an unintelligent factor is introduced into an intelligent universe. So today, we're talking about the unintelligent factor known as conditional thinking. Is there even such a thing as conditional truth? Conditional truth. Well, there is in the relative world, but not in the absolute truth. Are there certain conditions where the use of the spiritual truth, I am, just doesn't work? We talked about that yesterday. That pretty much everything you just, I am, pulls you right back to the spiritual truth. When I say I am, something else shouldn't be able to come along and throw me off it. Yeah, can't you just hear it in your head? I am. Yeah, you are. But what about this? That shouldn't throw you off. The I am should stand firm. That is not a conditional truth. It's an absolute unconditional truth. How about the idea of being less? Are there certain conditions where it becomes clear that you are less? Is your mind set up so that there are places and conditions where you actually go, yep, I'm less than here? Because if there is, then you've lost the thread of this unconditional truth. You know, these are two very different things. Feeling less and knowing the truth. Feeling versus knowing. And the question I have for you today is, which one wins? Do your feelings win, or does the knowing win? I can know. I know that prosperity is a given. I know it's my birthright. I know that I have the riches, the keys of the kingdom. I know that everything I want is mine to have. Is that a feeling, or is that what I know? And then if something comes along and makes me feel bad, does that feeling trump knowing? Not necessarily, and it shouldn't. It absolutely should not. Feelings change. The truth, not so much. Truth is not conditional. If you walk away today with nothing other than the fact that truth is not conditional, that'll be a huge thing for you. Truth is not conditional. Spiritual truth is not changeable. Something either is or it isn't. You are either prosperity at your core or you are not. It's up to you to decide. You know, even though it's an unconditional truth, you can decide it's not. Now, it doesn't change the unconditional truth that prosperity is your birthright. But what it does is it puts a kink in the flow and doesn't allow you to experience it. Then you go into that hamster wheel of, see, I'm not prosperity. Look at my bank account. Look at what just happened. And it's that relative world of the hamster wheel that becomes the scattered thinking, that becomes the conditional lifestyle. We just have to get very clear, what is the truth? You either are perfect or you're not. And remember, you can be perfect and not act perfect. You can be the prosperity of the universe and be broke, because you get to choose and do whatever you want with these truths. So, okay, I have a question for you this morning. What can you afford? And let me turn it to the other side. What can't you afford? Is there anything in your life that you've decided you can't afford? My husband keeps showing me these $3 million homes in Palm Springs. I don't feel like I can't afford them. I feel like I don't want to afford them. It's a big difference, right? But in your head, where do you say to yourself, I can't afford that? When you hear yourself saying, I can't afford that, those are the wrong words to be using, because you can afford that. Are you willing to use your mind to let the prosperity flow in such a way that you can afford whatever you decide to afford? So these are the ways we cultivate our mind opening up to the truth and getting the scattered thinking. I can't afford it is scattered thinking, because you are attaching that to a relative fact. The truth is, I can't afford it. Have I done the work to afford it? Maybe not. Do I really want to afford that? Maybe not. All a choice. Or let me put it this way. What conditions are in your mind stopping you from affording the life you want? What conditions are holding you hostage, stopping you from living the life you want to be living? Do you have a squad of wigglers in your mind taking you off point? And speaking of wigglers, let me just tell you what those are for those of you who don't know. I'm a big sports fan. So for those of you that don't know about sports, try not to laugh, Greg. Wigglers are the people behind, if you're at the home, say you're in a basketball court, I was going to say field, a basketball court, and behind the home team's basket, there's a whole group of people. They all show up. That's what they do. They try to distract you from throwing your ball. I used to be the ball boy for the 76ers when I was a young kid. Lest anybody think that I actually don't know about basketball. I do. So they just kind of jump up and down to distract you. You have wigglers all over your head, all inside your head, trying to distract you. All these old beliefs. Ryan said yesterday on the blog that all the dying fumes of these old beliefs are coming out just to distract him. Those are wigglers. So guess what? Wigglers get your attention. So what wigglers are getting your attention these days? And here's another question I have for you. If you're having challenges in life, does that mean that you're challenged? Think about that. Just because you're having challenges doesn't mean you're challenged. It just means you're having challenges. Because you, my friend, you can stand in front of that court, in front of that basket from the foul line and shoot a perfect swisher, even with every wiggler screaming. You're not challenged. There are challenges. Get the difference between those two things. Okay? So where in your mind have you accepted the idea that you're challenged? And where in your mind are there conditions in your life that are causing you to be scattered? Ernest Holmes said this: the power which creates and sustains everything is now creating everything necessary to my happiness. That's true. That's an unconditional truth. Now, are there wigglers in the way? And is there scattered thinking in the way? I want you to make a decision right now that today my mind is focused and clear. Just say that to yourself. Today, my mind is focused and clear. Decide not to get distracted by the wigglers in your life. Pay them no attention. You know what happens when you stop paying attention to the wigglers? They lose energy. Because you, believe it or not, you are the energy behind everything in your life. Even the wigglers. You have created these wigglers. Now you get to decide what gets your attention. Today I notice where I am letting conditions run the show. Here's a quote from me. This is something I use. Wigglers be damned, I know who I am. Not a perfect rhyme, but a nice rhyme. Wigglers be damned, I know who I am. So can you go through your day today noticing? I want you to give me a list of your wigglers. If you find them, write them on the blog so I can see where everybody is. Make a list, and make a list of your I ams too. I am powerful, I am prosperous, I am awake, right? So there you go. This beautiful, beautiful Saturday before us, you get to be like Wilt Chamberlain on the basketball court. See, I even pulled a name out because he was on the team when I was the ball boy. Wilt Chamberlain on the basketball court, shooting your perfect swisher. And now you get to decide and pay attention and notice whether or not these wigglers are getting in your way. Have a great day, everybody. You can afford a magnificent day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Namaste.